Hello. So, if you haven't already checked out Jogen's workshop from last weekend, please try to carve out some time to do that. It is a really meaningful workshop. It's not a requirement to start doing this week's mindfulness practice, but it is very much time well spent. That said, this week's mindfulness practice is rooted in that workshop, and it is effectively a dress rehearsal for bringing to life the four-step process that Jogen introduced for habit change or habit formation. And of course, it had a special focus on changing behaviors around food and examining the various ways we cling to food. So, to give you effectively both an overview of what this week's mindfulness practice is about and what Jogen's workshop was about, we're beginning by connecting with the intention, that core intention driving why you even want to change this behavior. And what I really want to highlight is that that is not about something as like surface level, even if it is significant, surface level kind of thing like, weight loss or coming from a place of uh, negativity about yourself or some aspect of yourself. That's not what this is about. The intention is something like eating in a way that is loving towards my body or respectful towards my body or restorative of trust or in a way that supports energy or vitality, whatever you connect with, what is the deeper intention behind why you even want to examine that habit? So this practice will ask you to connect with that. And again, it's not using your inner critic. It's not coming from a place of blame. In fact, I would recommend what Jogen also recommended, which is come up with a kind of sweet label for the various parts of you that are enacting this bad habit in the various ways it manifests or different cues it responds to, and come up with a name for it, and not a really negative name. Like, it's good to remind ourselves, I think, that all of these parts are trying to serve us in some way, even if it is misguided or unskillful in its implementation, burying your face in food or whatever. um, and then with this practice, we'll next be noticing the chain of events that plays out. And that's with a scientific lens. We're getting very curious about you as the subject. So, the subject had a thought of today's Easter, I should eat something special. Followed by a feeling of slight hunger and a flash of a food that she normally doesn't eat. And, this is me today. Like, just thinking about the various body sensations that come up, the thoughts that flicker by, the image, the verbal thoughts, the thoughts in the form of images that flicker by, just growing awareness around that. In this week's mindfulness practice, I'll ask you to think back to a time where a habit that isn't in line with intention came up, and it's a non-critical scientific, view of it. If you can't remember to that sort of granular level detail, it's okay, because I think even trying to do that will set you up next time for bringing awareness as that habit's playing back or playing out. And at that, you don't even need to change the habit. Simply bringing awareness to it is a powerful step, and really, really worth doing. Like, Jogen even recommended letting it play out as it normally does, simply bringing awareness to it, not even trying to stop it, but just really studying it, taking an investigative lens to it. Next, we have a special concentration on noticing what perhaps is very obvious, which is that change is always happening. And with this practice, we'll be focused on our thoughts in particular. And this is an 8-minute practice, by the way. It's not super long. And we end this practice with the concentration that Jogen brought up, which is, okay, so you stop doing this, bad habit. What are you then funneling that energy that's freed up? That sort of like, swirly kind of energy. What then are you putting it towards? So the way we end this practice is by asking ourselves how we can feed our heart. And that could be through food, it could be something else like nature or connection or purpose or whatever you are seeking. You're not necessarily thinking about it. I ask the question in the practice and see what comes up. It's just a fun kind of inquiry. And I like that even asking that question brings focus to how are you feeding your heart today? How are you doing that? On a proactive level. Like, what are you doing to feed your heart? With joy, with love, with connection? What is, how are you bringing that into your day? So, making that a part of your focus this week, that's a part of this practice. So, I hope you'll enjoy it. I hope you'll find it helpful. The practice is 8 minutes and possibly something you can go off book or off audio with rather quickly. Just wanted to make sure that this dress rehearsal empowers you to do the real work when the time comes. And we're just doing it when in a state where perhaps you're not that with that intense energy, like it's not playing out that quickly. We can with some practice set ourselves up to bring awareness to the real thing when it comes. So anyway, I hope you'll find it helpful, and do let me know with any practice reports and by joining the coaching calls. All right, thanks.